In every generation, the form of chaos changes, but the feeling it leaves in us remains the same. For the ancient Romans, chaos meant war, famine, and political betrayal. For us, it's the flood of information, the endless expectations, the silent pressure to perform and stay strong while everything around us feels unstable. We live in an age where confusion is constant. And yet, within this confusion, some people walk with a quiet steadiness as if untouched by the storm. They are not immune to pain, but they move through it with clarity. They feel the same uncertainty, but they do not collapse under it. That strength, that inner calm, is not something you're born with. It's something you practice. It's what Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, called the art of the inner citadel, the discipline of keeping your mind still, no matter how loud the world becomes. Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing to the world. His book, Meditations, was a private journal notes to himself, written while leading armies and governing an empire in chaos. He faced betrayal from those closest to him, the loss of many of his children, and a constant fear of war and disease. Yet instead of bitterness, he wrote reflections that shine with peace, acceptance, and strength. You have power over your mind, he wrote, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. 2,000 years later, those words have never been more relevant, because we live in a time when everyone is trying to control everything but themselves. To understand the art of an unshaken mind, we need to face three deep truths about why most people crumble under confusion and how we can rise above it. The first truth is that we mistake control for certainty. We believe that peace comes from managing every detail: our plans, careers, relationships, and outcomes. We convince ourselves that if we plan enough, work enough, or worry enough, we can make life predictable. But that's an illusion. Control is never real, it's temporary comfort. And when the world shifts as it always does, we panic. Marcus Aurelius faced the same delusion. As emperor, he had the greatest power a man could have. Yet he constantly reminded himself, you can't control the world, only your judgments about it. That's the foundation of Stoicism. The distinction between what we can and cannot control. We cannot control events, but we can always control how we interpret them. Every time we react to chaos, we hand over our power. But when we pause and say, this is outside my control, but my response is mine, we take it back. The mind becomes calm the moment it stops demanding that reality behave differently. Think about how often stress comes, not from what happens, but from your resistance to what happens. You wanted the meeting to go differently. You wanted the person to understand. You wanted the world to align with your will. But the moment you let go of that demand, your mind opens. Peace begins not when life gets easier, but when you stop expecting it to be easy. The second truth is that we live too much in reaction. Our modern environment is designed to pull our minds outward. Every vibration in your pocket, every headline, every argument online is training your brain to react instantly. We've become addicted to emotional immediacy. But reaction is chaos. It's mental noise pretending to be urgency. Marcus Aurelius warned against this long before screens existed. If you are distressed by anything external, he wrote, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your judgment of it. His point wasn't to suppress emotion, but to create space between stimulus and response, to allow reason to breathe before impulse takes over. Today, that practice might look like turning off notifications, meditating before you scroll, or simply breathing before responding to something that angers you. The mind needs quiet time to heal. Without it, you become a slave to every trigger. Stillness isn't laziness, it's strength under control. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are rarely the loudest. They're the ones who can stay calm when everyone else loses their head. That calm isn't denial, it's direction. When you stop reacting, you start responding. When you respond, you act with purpose. And that's how stability begins, by reclaiming the pause. The third truth is perhaps the hardest. We suffer because we resist what is. Marcus Aurelius believed that peace comes not from changing the world, but from accepting the nature of things. He wrote, accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? To modern ears, that can sound like giving up. But it's not resignation, it's wisdom. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop acting. It means you stop fighting reality. Think of water, it flows around obstacles, it doesn't shatter against them. In the same way, when life blocks you, you can either fight and break or flow and adapt. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. It's the practice of saying yes to whatever life brings, not because it's easy, but because you trust it will shape you. The more you resist, the more you suffer. The more you accept, the freer you become. Marcus practiced this when his closest friend turned against him, when plague spread through Rome, when he buried his own children. And yet, he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not a metaphor. It's a survival mechanism for the human spirit. When you stop wishing life were different and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" the chaos becomes your teacher. Every difficulty you face can strengthen the muscle of your mind. Every moment of confusion can train your clarity. So how do we apply this in our lives? How do we find calm while the world keeps moving? It begins with awareness. When confusion comes, don't run from it. Observe it. See how your mind rushes to judge, to control, to react. Then, separate what belongs to you from what doesn't. Your thoughts, your choices, your focus, these are yours. Everything else is wind and weather. Let it pass. Then, practice stillness every day, even for 5 minutes. Sit without music, without screens, without input. Just breathe and listen. The mind resets in silence. You don't need a mountain or monastery, you need a moment of honesty. It's in that quiet that your strength rebuilds. Finally, practice perspective. Remember that the moment you're in, no matter how uncertain or painful, is temporary. Marcus reminded himself daily that time changes everything. He wrote, "Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you." That wasn't meant to depress him at freedom. When you realize that every frustration will fade, you stop giving it power. You stop wasting your peace on what won't matter in the end. The Stoic path is not about becoming emotionless. It's about choosing your emotions wisely. It's not about suppressing life, but mastering the way you live it. Calm is not the absence of storms, it's the ability to hold your center while they pass. And maybe that's the real art Marcus Aurelius was trying to teach us, not how to control life, but how to remain alive within it. Because the truth is, the world will always be uncertain, people will still disappoint you, plans will still break, but the mind trained in stillness will never lose its balance. When you start to feel the world closing in, pause. Remember that you survived confusion before. Remember that your peace is not fragile, it's trained. You can choose to meet life with calm eyes, even when it roars. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." That's not philosophy, it's practice. And the practice begins right now. When confusion arrives tomorrow, meet it with stillness. When noise surrounds you, hold your silence. When fear comes, look it in the eye and say, "You can shake the world, but you cannot shake my mind." The storm will pass, as it always does, but the strength you build in the storm, that will stay with you for the rest of your life.